Research shows that living an abusive relationship activates the same grief response in the brain as losing someone to death. Not because the relationship was healthy, but because your nervous system was deeply attached to the connection, the hope, the version of the future you believe in. Hi, I'm Kamala Hess, systemic therapist and founder of the Rebel Moms community. Every day I help women escape their emotional prisons by teaching them how to balance motherhood, feminine power, and their relationship. If that sounds something like you need, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss more of this content on emotional intelligence. And one of the most confusing experiences after living an abusive relationship is grief. Many women expect relief, clarity, strength, but what they feel instead is longing, confusion, sadness, and sometimes even desire to go back. And this is what makes them think that something is wrong with them, but there is nothing wrong with you. You are grieving because abusive relationships don't end only when a relationship ends, it ends in layers. So the first stage is denial. Not denial that something happened, but denial of how serious it really was. You remember the good moments, you remember the connection, you remember the version of him you believed in. In your mind protects you from the full impact of the truth, holding to the hope. And the second stage is self-blame. This is where many women get stuck. You start thinking maybe you could have done something different. Maybe you were too sensitive. Maybe you asked for too much. Maybe if you had communicated better, things would have been different. But self-blame is not clarity. Self-blame is the nervous system trying to regain control after the chaos. Because if it was your fault, then maybe you could have fixed it. So then we come to the third stage, that is the withdrawal. Abusive relationships create strong emotional bonds through unpredictability. So when the relationship ends, your body doesn't just miss the person. It misses the intensity, the emotional rhythm. It misses the hope. And this is why silence after separation can actually feel physically painful. Not because the relationship was healthy, but because your nervous system was attached. And the fourth stage is anger. And this stage is important because anger brings information. It helps you see what you tolerated. It helps you recognize what was unfair. It helps you reconnect with your boundaries. Many women are afraid of this stage because anger is often the beginning of self-protection returning. And the final stage is clarity. Not the kind of clarity that happens overnight, the kind that grows slowly. You begin to see the pattern. You begin to trust your perception again. You begin to understand that what you lost was not the relationship you had. It was the relationship you hoped you could become. And that realization changes everything. Grieving an abusive relationship does not mean that you made the wrong decision. It means that your system is releasing something it once needed in order to survive. And healing begins the moment you stop interpreting grief as weakness. Grief is movement, integration, and is how your nervous system makes space for something healthier. If you're already following me, congratulations, you're growing your emotional intelligence every single day. And if you're not, follow now and make emotional maturity a lifestyle. Comment below, emotional intelligence is my rebellion, and send this to a woman who thinks she should already be over this relationship, but it isn't.